Good evening. It is Tuesday, May 16th, and I'd like to call this meeting to order. Tom Tiapa.
Here.
Pamela Dowd.
Here.
Jim McKenzie.
Here.
Sean Unmacht.
Here.
Dave Christofoli.
Here.
And Lisa Glidden is here. And Maura Dempsey, right on time. Please rise for the pledge. Okay, so we need to start this evening by appointing a pro temp district clerk, since Diane is helping with the election today. So may I have a motion to appoint Nancy Squares as the district clerk pro temp for the May 16th regular board meeting?
I'll move it.
Motion. I'll
Okay.
second it.
Thank you, Dave and Pam. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Nancy.
Okay. Yes, thank you, Nancy. We had no one sign up for floor to the public tonight. I would like to continue. Can I have a motion to amend the agenda to move item 13A, which was inadvertently placed under items from the board, up to number 4, Board of Education, for the board to vote on?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. All right, so under this section is normally where any items that we're going to be voting on. And several months ago, we had a conversation about the renaming or bringing the name back of Joe Wilbur Field. We put together, I won't go through the whole history of it, but if people have questions, I'll be happy to address it. But we put together a resolution to do this, which I accidentally closed, so I'm sorry. Give me a moment. Okay, I got it. Okay, so whereas Joe Wilbur was a physical education teacher at Fitzhugh Park for 14 years and then Director of Health, Public Education, and Athletics for the Oswego City School District for 23 years, Mr. Wilbur coached football, basketball, baseball, and soccer at Oswego High School. He helped construct the courses at Oswego BOCES, ushered in Title IX and interscholastic girls' sports, and had an influence on many other longtime Oswego coaches. And whereas, prior to the redesign of the athletic complex, Wilbur Field was the name of the existing field and stadium to the east of Hillside Avenue. And whereas the Oswego City School District community would like the new field to also be named in honor of Joe Wilbur, therefore be it resolved that the new stadium field be named Joe Wilbur Field. And therefore be it further resolved that facilities, in consultation with the interim superintendent, erect a plaque with the name and a brief description of Joe Wilbur's contributions and impact to the Oswego City School District's athletic program and students. So can I have a motion on this agenda, on the resolution?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Sean. Is there a second?
Second it.
Okay, any discussion?
As I brought this forward, talking with a lot of former coaches and teachers, they helped push this a little bit faster than it was being before, but I wrote that and I firmly back all the stuff that Joe Wilbur has done for this district, and glad that this has finally been brought to the table.
So I would just add, I think it might be helpful, and Sean, if you want to be a part of what exactly goes on the plaque, because one of the things we didn't discuss is whether that first clause just is what goes on the plaque, and the specific placement of it. in talking with the interim superintendent, we thought that probably one of the most visible places where most people would see it would be to put on the concession stand. But I don't know if people, so the resolution doesn't really specify the location.
Yeah, I guess on the concession stand would be good. A lot of college stadiums actually put it on the field itself. So like at the Dome, it might say Jim Boeheim Court on the floor. So I don't know if it could be put in like one corner and another corner of the field itself, or if we're just gonna name like this on the side of the bleachers, or however we're gonna do it. Not really sure.
So you mean like on the fence on the side or actually like in the
No,
turf?
on the turf.
Okay.
That's the way colleges and other high schools have it, but, I mean, it could go on the stadium, go on the field, it could go on the concession stand, just, I don't know if we're gonna rename it at Buccaneer Stadium, what was thrown around a little bit before, or, not sure what, however we wanna proceed with it, I guess we can discuss that.
So does anyone know enough about turf fields to know if we
Yeah,
can do
you
that?
can, yeah.
Tom?
Well, or go ahead, Nancy, if you speak to it.
Are you saying that you want the name Wilbur Field in the turf?
That's the way a lot of courts in basketball have it, and a lot of stadiums in colleges and high schools do have it.
Okay, so I was there when they actually cut out the turf for the lettering and for the Buck Boosters. That's going to be a lot of tearing out and putting back in. That's going to be a major job.
It can go on the stadium or
So-
somewhere where it's visible.
Right, so I didn't know whether the board had decided to actually do a physical plaque or whether you wanted a sign maybe put up in the corner. It's your decision, but I think that actually putting something in the turf would be costly.
So if I may, I'd like to suggest that we hold off on kind of trying to finalize this kind of discussion for another time, maybe even referring it to the Facilities Committee, who can then work with whomever is interested. I think the important part of this is that we do recognize Joe Wilbur and his contributions, and that we officially name it today. I support this motion, so that from here on out, the newspaper's not going to, the turf field, we're not going to talk the turf. It's Joe Wilbur Field. And how we choose to put signage up, I think we can deal with in the near future.
Okay, so we can amend the second, therefore, be it resolved that facilities, in consultation with the interim superintendent and the facilities committee, determine signage, placement, and, well, determine signage and its placement. How about that?
Bob just suggested too, he's seen it on scoreboards. I don't know if,
Sometimes you'll see a recognition of somebody's name on a scoreboard, because it's pretty visible, and certainly the one we have is beautiful, and it may look good in a spot like that.
I was going to suggest that we have a committee, put a committee together to flesh out all these details, whether, well, I don't know facilities alone or facilities and add, because Sean brought this forward, and also because I think you're looking at a comprehensive view of the stadium in terms of where you want to put some naming going forward and come up with some ideas. So if we want to do a wall of fame, or if we want to do something else, or, so we're not just going along each time one of these arises, let's put a plan together. So if we could have I'd suggest, and I think you wanted to sit on that committee before, so if we would either have Sean come on with facilities, and we do it as a collective, or we form a whole new committee, either way. But we know that I agree with Jim, the dedication that we're going to utilize it, and it's going to be in honor of Joe Wilbur, I support 100%.
Okay, so if we strike the last part of that, so be it further resolved that facilities in consultation with the interim superintendent and/or his designee, which could be Sean, and the facilities committee determine signage placement, determine signage and its placement. Is that? Okay.
So then I will move to amend the language
Is there a
as
second on?
presented.
Sorry. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion on the amendment? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Diane actually wrote this up as a roll call vote, so if there's no further discussion, we'll have to go to a roll call vote. Did anyone have any other discussion? No? Okay. All right. Lisa Glidden is yes. Tom Chiappa?
Yes.
James McKenzie?
Yes.
Dave Christophilly?
Yes.
Sean Onmacht?
Yes.
And Pamela Dowd?
Yes.
Okay, the resolution passes. Thank you. And thank you, Sean, for your work on that. I will just note, we are working on a second motion regarding the Michelle Wink training/weight room. I knew we had to kind of do some changes on the fly for this. So now that we know we need to be that specific, we'll have 2 weeks to work on, well, not 2 weeks, about 10 days to work on the next one, but we'll have that on the next agenda. Okay, next up on our agenda is the superintendent's report.
Good evening, everyone. I'll be brief. These are just, there are so many events going on around the district over the next few weeks. This is just really focused primarily on this week's information. So there's a bunch going on tomorrow night. One that I wanted to draw your attention to is the community conversation about mental health, which will be here at the high school. It starts at 5 p.m. And that 5 p.m. time is when you would be able to go around from table to table, gathering resources and information, and then the panel discussions actually begin at 6, I believe. Layton has an open house on the same night, and STEAM night, and Charles E. Riley has a choral and band concert. On Thursday, May 18th, is Minetto Family Fun Night, and then Layton is very busy. They have a choral concert on Thursday. Friday and Saturday, we have the NISBA Solo Festival here. And on Saturday, May 20th, is the junior prom. I did leave up there, although it was from last time, that just as a constant reminder that the graduation ceremony is Saturday, June 24th. And I would have loved to have posted all the athletic contests this week, but there are literally 32 athletic contests going on this week for all of our student athletes. So it's an incredible number. It's an incredible amount of athletics going on. It's a perfect time of year. Weather's been great, so we're excited for them, and we're excited for all of our teams. And then a reminder that the budget vote is actually today, and polls are open until 9, so unless the board plans on having an exceedingly long meeting tonight, there's plenty of time for everybody to get out to their polling site and still vote this evening. We're good, sorry. And just a couple of events from last week. Oswego County Olympiad Invitational, which many know as the Special Olympics, but it's actually called the Olympiad Invitational in this county, was Thursday, May 10th. I was excited to be able to participate at both the parade here, where the students, athletes were sent on their way. That's the first picture you see. That's the group that we sent. And then I was able to capture as they arrived at the stadium, which was held in Phoenix, New York. It was a wonderful event. I can't believe the number of students that were there, and it was just a really, really great event. And then Crush Kids Cancer was the varsity track and field invitational at the Oswego Middle School. And when I was there, you could see you can't see the check, but that check was for $5,000. This year, unlike previous years, I guess in previous years, what I understand is that Oswego challenged Fulton to raise money for St. Baldrick's. And there was always a little friendly competition there, and they raised $2,000 last year. This year, they opened it up to all of the teams to participate, and that check is for $5,000, but I will tell you that I heard at the event that it actually is about $6,000 by the time this started, so it's quite an incredible amount of money for a great cause for St. Baldrick's. And I want to thank the other Jeff Gordon for inviting me, the PE teacher, and the track coach, Jeff Gordon, for inviting me to the event. I'm the other Jeff Gordon. He's the real Jeff Gordon. And then I just wanted to provide a quick update to the board on a conversation that happened earlier related to the senior picnic, and a parent spoke to that, I believe it was in the cafeteria. So I've been working with Mr. Lanigan, and just wanted to clarify a couple things and also talk about where we're going with that. So the senior picnic has been in existence, according to Mr. Lanigan, for decades. That is different than the senior overnight trip, two different events. That's the trip where students prior to COVID went to Florida for multiple nights. The senior trip was stopped during the pandemic. The senior picnic has seen a numbers decline. That's the trip that is to Seabreeze. The goal has always been to have 100% participation for the senior picnic. So we've asked Mr. Lanigan, and he's begun this work, working with the junior and senior class advisors. They're developing a survey to give next year's seniors, so this year's juniors, with several possible day trip experiences on it. So we're trying to get more information from the students as to what they may be interested in doing for what's been traditionally called the senior picnic, which again is the day trip. We expect that the results should be ready and will be shared at a June board meeting. Perhaps Maura will present them for us. And then there are still, I want to be clear, there are still discussions around the future of the former senior trip. Those will continue. Right now, we're focused on this, and then we'll move to that and try to figure out where that may fall in the future. So I just wanted to give an update on all that information to the board and to the community. So I'm excited that we're allowing the students to have more input into the senior picnic, and we certainly hope that that will cause participation to grow next year. And that's my report.
Okay, next up, we have our consent agenda, which has the minutes of the executive session and regular meeting on April 11th, the minutes from April 18th, the OHS and OMS extra classroom reports for April, the special education board report from May 17th, the budget status report for April, the district financial report, MD&A report, and treasurer's consolidated report, and the projected fund balance report. All of those are for April. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
I'll move it.
Thank you, Dave. Second?
I'll second.
Tom, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next up, we have personnel.
Good evening, everyone. Under personnel, items A through C, we have administrative staff recommendations, as well as an ESY extended school year administrative appointment.
And I just wanted to briefly remind the board that item B, administrative staff recommendation for non-affiliated administrators, is what we spoke about in executive session, and it's an amendment to the contracts of the administrators in the education center.
Bob, did you say A through E?
A through C.
A through C, sorry. Can I have a motion for A through C?
Make the motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Items D through L are support staff recommendations as presented.
Okay, is there a motion for D through L?
Make the motion.
I'll second it.
Tom, you wanted to abstain from one of these.
Yes, can we,
Do you have a philosophical problem abstaining from all of them, or do you want me to pull that one out? I'm sorry, I just remembered. I mean, you're not,
no, I'm
so
not.
he's abstaining because of a family connection to someone who we're appointing, not because he has
Right, I feel.
philosophical or ethical problems with anyone else.
Yeah. Can we pull that? I
Yes,
mean,
sure. It was H. So, oh man, I should have done this before we.
D through G, then?
D through G?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, we'll just rewind, pretend it didn't happen. I know Jim's like, the Roberts rules is, okay, motion for B through G.
D.
D through
through
G,
G.
sorry.
make the motion, D through G.
Second?
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and let's do H separately.
Item H as presented.
Okay, can I give a motion for H?
I'll move it.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Aye. Abstaining.
Okay. I through
Items
L.
I through L as presented.
Thank you. Can I have a motion for I through L as presented?
Make motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay. Items M through Q are substitutes, temporary, and extra compensatory recommendations as presented.
Okay, is there a motion for M through Q?
I'll make the motion.
A second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you,
And I
Bob.
would like to point out, we do have our new Director of Student Services here with us tonight, Jackie Beck. So if you just want to move hello.
Hi. Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have finance.
Items A through C as presented.
Is there a motion for A through C?
Move it.
A second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Well, as always, thank you so much for those donations.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Item 13 was struck. Maura, do you have anything for the students?
It's Mental Health Awareness Month. I think we covered that already. So tomorrow we have a presenter coming into the high school students, and they're going to talk about like mental health and suicide, kind of a prevention thing. So that should be good for all the students to hear. We have a lot coming up for the seniors. We talked about some of the things already, obviously. And then the elementary school track meet is coming up on June 13th. So all the schools that are elementary schools go there and they get to participate. And I think they were doing some practicing outside when I got here, so that was kind of cute.
Okay, so do we have any items from the board?
Just
ahead,
a
Pam.
couple. I don't know if anyone has noticed the banners around, well, they're totally by Brightback, and I think they're between the two hotels on the east side for sure. And I don't know if there's any at the college, but they all have our students' artwork on there. I think it's My Hometown is the project that it's called. So each year, I think, if I remember correctly, the students are told, like, this spring, they'll be on the banners for next year. I think that's how that works. But yeah, if you're out and about and you're actually not driving by, but maybe walking, it'd be great, look up and see some of our students' artwork. I think it ranges from K through 12th grade, so it's always exciting. I'm sure for those kids that have their pieces of work up there, the talent in this district, it's endless. I also am asking, like, for our next meeting, if it's doable, can we find out how many scholar athlete teams we had this year? And as always, a huge shout out and thank you to our faculty, staff, administrators, students, all of them. And I think I'm going to give an extra shout out to, I believe it's part of technology and part of the custodians, that every time we have a meeting, somebody has to set up for us. So thank you so much for that little bit of extra that you have to do it always every other week, and then once in a while, a little extra when we need it. So big shout out to that group.
Oh, Tom, did you have a? So I wanted to bring something back that we'd actually heard at a public comment period a few meetings ago, and this has to do with putting flags on the fence posts of the stadium. And I think, so part of the challenge, if I understand it correctly, is that it would violate the warranty of where the initially were gonna go.
So I've been discussing this with Appella Osborne, Corey from Appella Osborne, and he said that when they designed the field, It wasn't designed to have flagpoles off of it, and that would affect the wind shear that's coming across from the lake. But we're still looking into it to see what other options we can put flags up. So we're having the conversations.
Okay, so yeah, that was actually my question, is if we'd identified a site yet for it.
Not yet, but we're having conversations. He's
Okay.
on vacation this week.
Okay.
But we have been emailing back and forth, and he is contacting the manufacturer to see what we can do.
Okay. All right. Any other items from the board? Okay. So I believe we are, I always forget to bring the actual wording with me. So a motion to move to executive session for the purposes of personnel, the performance, of a particular person, not a particular person, but personnel. Yeah.
I'll move that.
Thank you, Jim. Second?
I'll make the second.
Thank you, Pam. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it is 5, there will not be a need for a vote after. Okay, so 5:26 PM. Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Just that quick reminder, if you haven't voted,
Yes,
go
go vote. Polls are open till 9.